It is December 19th, the year 2016. I wasn't planning on actually going Christmas shopping, but I sort of did. Yesterday we went and got like stocking stuffers stuff at Walmart, which actually surprisingly was not a very good selection of anything. Um, I was really like disappointed in like about half of, what was there. And there was lots of stuff there. We tried to go to Kanman or Kanman or whatever. It's in Quincy. It's like this Asian market thing. I think there's one in New Jersey too, but whatever. And you can't get a parking spot. It was just complete anarchy. And then I totally regretted that we went into the parking lot because then we couldn't get out of the parking lot for almost half an hour. It was just ridiculous. Like, once we got in, we were like, oh my God, we need to get out. Like, this isn't going to happen. So, yeah, there's that. And then there was the whole thing with the computer. So we went and got a laptop for Heidi, which I have a feeling it's probably a waste of time and money, but her whole reason for not using her regular computer has to do with, oh, the graphics don't work right. Well, now you got a laptop, when you should have got a desktop, especially with like a card that's good for graphics, but whatever. So, we went to Staples in Braintree, and if he wanted it right away, he could have gone to Weymouth, which is where we live, and gotten it there and picked it up. But no, he wanted them to ship it over there so that he could go there tomorrow and get it. Except I have class tomorrow, and my film, which is finished, which is on my channel, is up. And my film's being like screened and it's due tomorrow. We're supposed to have like a, what do you call it? Like a screening, and like all the other video classes are there, and a party with I guess it's supposed to be pizza, coffee, and donuts or something like that, but I don't know. And yeah, it just doesn't really feel that Christmassy to me anymore. I actually feel like weird longings for when my daughter was like really little, because I felt like that was more fun. Um, and she's a teenager now, so it's not as fun. I would like it to be fun, although I did go to take her to see the Nutcracker because I won tickets um, a few weeks ago, and that was great to see the Moscow Ballet. That was really good. There's like a ton of different like Nutcracker shows in Boston. We saw the Moscow Ballet one, which is really different, way different. The story is different. Drosselmeyer is more of like a wizard kind of guy instead of just a toy maker. Um, yeah, and he's throughout the entire story. I also just had a massive nosebleed this morning. I just woke up, and next thing I know, blood shoots out of my nose. Like, I woke up and then there's blood. Like, it was just weird. I've been drawing and sketching a lot lately. I probably should do some croquis or something today. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Every time I try to make a plan, like Mr. Wong like does his own plan, and we have to go with his plan instead, which he did the past 2 days. It's been also like up and down cold. Like one minute it's, like yesterday it went all the way up to 60, and the day before that it was like 12 degrees. So there's that. Um, I don't know. I feel like Christmas is just, it is very commercialized. It is very commercial, and I don't know. I need more children around so I can have more fun. But no. I got my video teacher asked me to work on his animation film or something, whatever it is. Is it a game? I'm confused about what to call it. It's like, I think it's 3D or virtual reality or something. Then he showed me like a demo of like this camera that shoots, is it 360 or something? I don't even know anymore. So we did that. So he was like, yeah, do you want to work on that with me? And I was like, okay. And my friend Roland, who's like a producer and so on, um, I went to a table reading of his newest script, film, screenplay thing. I worked on a screenplay with him before. Um, and one of his films is he's doing like final edits and cuts, and he's gonna put that in some film festivals. So he's kind of like on a roll to do like he has several films. This one's this new one's coming out. I think it's called What's in a Fortune. Um, I don't know why he wrote that, but it's got a joke in it. It's it's all short films, but that's the creativity of his genius. So I guess I'm film crew or something on the next one. There's supposed to be another table reading soon. I went to one. Um, I think he's got a New Year's party slash script reading thing also. Um, so there's that. And I want to storyboard my. I'm at this like I have this like perfectionism thing. I want to storyboard, and it's on my mind. So it was on my mind like intensely, especially November it was like on my mind every day, and this month as well. And I want to storyboard a short animated short, but I'm just so aggravated and frustrated with my skills, my drawing skills. I really want to do more life drawings or croquis and things like that because it really freaking helps. It actually really works. And I've also been like kind of I don't okay, so obsession is not the right word. I have been obsession implies like a negative, like a bad connotation. Um more like fascination or like I keep going through these things where I go very into some kind of deep Eastern thought. Usually it's Taoism, which if you've seen my film, it's obviously got the Taoism there, but I also have some little Confucianism in there. And Confucianism is one of those things where that I'll oftentimes I don't like Confucianism that much compared to Taoism, for obvious reasons. It's too authoritarian in some ways or sexist in some ways, whereas other things I find I do like that are compassionate or whatever. But and Confucius or Confucius, he's kind of funny at times, and I can appreciate. Whereas like Lao Tzu, Lao Tzu is more about softness, and he's got like Bruce Lee is obviously super like Taoist. He's a lot of times uh, re or paraphrasing or requoting or I don't know, reciting stuff that's pretty much Lao Tzu. So there's that. Um, and then when another one, I'm just so I keep going into it. I'll go into it, and then I'll kind of like go out of it and go in and out. When I go in, I go really in, and then I'll kind of like float out. So I'm noticing like a rhythm here, but it's what I mean is Zen, or in Chinese called Chan. Okay, so Zen actually came from a type of Buddhism from India that went to China through Bodhidharma. And a lot of things that are Chinese now actually started with that guy who was Indian. Um, so Bodhidharma started everything from Zen, the what you think of as Zen now, which usually you tend to think of the Japanese version, to Kung Fu, to there's so many different things, martial arts. Um, there's just so many really things that are actually people usually think of as Chinese are from Bodhidharma, and he's not Chinese. He just settled in China with his type of Buddhism. Was it called? I forgot what it was called. but whatever. So I go into this Eastern thing, and it's those main things that I usually, especially, emphasis huge on Taoism. And I'm not talking like incense to your like ancestor kind of pagan thing. I'm talking about like the stuff like Lao Tzu wrote about in his book. And then I go back to this Western thing, like these, and by Western, let me qualify it, I mean to ancient Greek philosophy, straight up philosophy. And I tend to float between, okay, especially Socratic or Socrates type stuff, where it's the Socratic method. But then there's even the pre-Socratics, which is before Socrates, who have a lot of these ideas which can mirror or be either exactly the same, very similar, or in their own way similar to especially Lao Tzu with Taoism, and with this like flow and balancing of forces, or these or two forces kind of thing. Another one was not so much Plato as Neoplatonism. Neoplatonism is one of those, I don't know, I'm just sometimes kind of fascinated with things that they thought. And I traced a lot of stuff that religion uses now in these like weird new definitions uh, as actually tracing back to these like pre-Socratics, well, of course, Neoplaton ideas, Neoplatonists ideas, but to the pre-Socratics, even Socrates himself. But there's this one guy who's just really weird, but really interesting. His conclusion of things are kind of odd, but the way he would explain things, and what I like to listen to people who can read Greek, who can actually explain the actual things he wrote and why it's significant, because when you hear it in Greek, it sounds a certain way. It kind of gets lost in translation. But this guy, his name was Heraclitus or Heraclitus, or I've heard it pronounced different ways. And he was the guy who talked about, the river. You can't step into the same river twice. There was other philosophers, pre-Socratics, who had a different take on the same principle. And then there was something called monism or monism, which is, I'm thinking that's where, because I've been trying to trace down, if you've ever seen my old vlogs, I used to talk about monads or monads. So I've been trying to trace down the origin of this concept of a monad, and there's even a type of calculation, a type of equation for what's called monads and monoids. And this is one of those things, because I'm not very good with math, that I've literally given myself a migraine like 3 times for this. Like, it was very unpleasant. I would say obsession. That was like a legitimate obsession I had, and it was a not good one. Very negative, because I hurt myself. I harmed myself trying to understand this kind of calculation. I figure it's 2016, so I'm guessing there's probably better, more sufficient types of calculations are available, or science on monads. There's different types, like monad is something, like when you try and look up a definition, every encyclopedia, dictionary, source, or whatever that would give a definition, it seemed like they didn't really know what they were talking about, so they're just sort of saying something, but even it's just very obvious that they don't even know it. They're just, whoever wrote it down is just, oh, well, it's this thing. Okay. And I don't know if because when you get into the ology, which, by the way, there's a book called Monadology, which is another type of like a physics or something, like it's a theory. It's like a real heady mental theory thing, and it was about like reflectiveness or something. And that one, I don't even know what to even say about that. That book is expensive. God, I mean, a few years ago when I was trying to look into that book is like $400. So, yeah, I don't even know what to do with that. But anyway, the point was, so I keep kind of going into this sort of Eastern Western thing, and other times, I might have a tangent in like some Middle Eastern whatever. It's pretty weird because some Greek stuff, like if it's math based, actually has an Arab or it may be Iraq actually type of an origin. Um, yeah, so there's that. Then there's also like when you think of like Hellenistic Greek culture, that wasn't just in Greece, that was everywhere around the Mediterranean. It was in Africa, like in Egypt, Turkey, or what we call Turkey today, North Africa, everywhere. So, and so there it is. I go in and out of this kind of Taoism. My investment thing has reared its head, and I was most of the time I'm just kind of ignoring it because I have a bone to pick with so many things about it. But some kind of good news happened. So there are times when I'm kind of chomping at the bit over that because if and when ever that's ready and done, my whole life's gonna be way different. But so right now, it's almost Christmas, and I don't really have any Christmas presents at all. No, like the major highlight of my week or weekend. I can't even remember. The days just kind of blur into each other. So we went to Ulta for real, and it was his idea. Those pencils, it's like a lip pencil or eyeshadow pencils as well, and they're like these really fat pencils. They're massively fat. Okay. And I can't sharpen it. I had art pencil kits that have fat pencils, but I couldn't fit the makeup pencils in there. And I have two NARS lip pencils that are awesome. And then I have Wet n Wild and NYX and a Milani. I think that's it. I hope that's it. I might have more, whatever. And can't open them, can't sharpen them. So he was like, "Well, we'll go to Ulta in Braintree and you can get one there." Because he was expecting to, get a laptop or whatever. So also what happened was super duper deep freeze. We had like this Arctic blast. And then when it was getting warmer, all the snow happened, like this massive snow. So I know this area, and a lot of times, well, before when it was insane snow, people would go shopping anyway. They're like, let's go and, put our life in our hands and let's tempt fate. Whereas today, not so much. I feel like people just don't go out, they don't do anything. I was many times a business owner, so I know. So we go to Ulta, and when he parked the car to wait for me, there was like barely any cars in the parking lot. So I go in there, and there's about 4 people being serviced, and that's about all of the people who work there. Because usually when I go into Ulta, they're up my ass. Hi, how are you? Ah, look at me, buy this thing. Ah. That's okay. So maybe it's not that cartoonish, but like whatever. So the one place where I usually think of when I think of makeup pencil sharpeners, because I always see them there every freaking time I go there in like different colors, and every brand has like 5 different ones. I think of Ulta. So I'm going around and I go to like the cheaper section, and there's like NYX and all these other like drugstore type brands, except Ulta's better than drugstore usually, although Target can be kind of nice. Because the Ulta can have like limited edition type stuff or different colors that you can't get for products in drugstores or whatever usually. Well, at least To me, at least it seems that way. But anyway, I'm walking around and I'm like, pencil sharpener, pencil. I'm just like scanning, fine tooth comb scanning, laser scanning my eyeballs. Where's the pencil sharpener? They also usually have like they have like they have plural sections of like items that are like stocking stuffer type things, and there's so much cool everything. And like I'm there and I'm like, I want everything. I want this, I want that. I'm like, no, don't stay focused. Okay, pencil sharpener. So I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking and it's taking forever. So then I'm like, okay, well, I need to get somebody to help me because I can't find anything. And so then I am like, well, okay, so I'll go to the high end section because they usually have brand name pencil sharpeners. And even though those can be kind of get up there, like it's not going to be like $20 for a freaking pencil sharpener. So I go over there and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm like, what the hell? Because usually Urban Decay has something like that, or Too Faced, or well, what's another? NARS, okay? And I'm like, what? I don't see anything, nothing. So by the time and literally as I come in, because he parked the car, I go in. By the time I get over to where the next section was and start looking, to the time I get to the second aisle of other stuff like drugstore brands or whatever brand, Ulta brands, whatever, like 15 people came in, one after the other. And then by the time I'm done and I'm done with that section and I've scanned that section, there's over 50 people there, easily. And I couldn't move. Like, you can't, and I'm like, oh my God. And everybody's got like a heavy coat on and everything. So I finally go to the back and I go to the salon section because those poor people in the salon are like so bored because people are just buying gifts and they're not really getting their hair done or whatever. I'm like, can you just help me, please? I just want a pencil sharpener, so you can sharpen those fat pencil things. And they look at me like, I don't know. Probably because they're just salon people. But then this big dude with a beard and an apron on, because I was like really sad. I was like, really? Come on. I'm like, I need it. And then he's like, oh, well, Anastasia has one. That's the only one I know of. I'm like, okay. So he walks all the way there and I don't see anything, but he like bends down. He's massively like a giant. He bends down and he grabs like the last one and gives it to me, and he's like, "Here you go." So it was $6, $6, but whatever. So then I go and I wait in line and seriously packed. This is the busiest I've ever seen Ulta in my life, and I've been to Ulta plenty of times, even at Christmas times, and I've never seen Ulta this busy ever, especially all at once like that. So I just rung it up, and I was supposed to have $8 of like points on there, and all of that just vanished. So, and it even said like I didn't buy anything, and I know I bought like a hair care thing for my daughter's birthday. So I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, $6 plus tax. I swear there's times where like I'm kind of like annoyed and like because I have makeup, I have lots of eyeshadow especially. Um and I'm like, I'm tired of makeup, probably because like I have skin issues right now. So I'm like kind of hating. But then like I go into like Ulta and I want like everything. Oh, why? Actually, I'm more interested in like perfumes lately, but also skin issues. I hate winter. I hate New England. Hate is a strong word, but I hate it. So, there's that. Is there anything else? There's probably like a ton of things. Oh yeah, my daughter keeps almost dying. She's almost bleeding to death. She has what? Von Willebrands, or she doesn't have Von Willebrands. I don't know anymore. Like, my ability to have trust and faith in the system, and I don't think I have an authority issue. I have a, like, trust issue. So after going back to college again and realizing what people go through to get a degree, I kind of question everything, especially since I majored in philosophy, but then I just switched to art. But so in order to get a degree, for the most part, is you show up to class. That's a major part of the degree. You participate in class, which a lot of people do not. I always did, every freaking time. You hand in your homework. It has to have, correct spelling and grammar, but not everyone does. And they still get okay grades, like particularly Mr. Huang, who has terrible grammar in English, but he's got a very good set of grades based on the fact of, oh, well, he's some foreign guy, so he tried his best, right? So, and then you have to do like your reports or your thesis or whatever. And you, based on how you write it correctly, then you get a grade, and then you move on to the next thing. You could spend a whole lot of time doing a whole lot of things. And then there's things like certain test phases, depending on how much you memorize. But once you meet these things, you could actually not know all of it, but you study it so you can forget it. Or you study it, you cram. Cram isn't really learning. And then you get a degree eventually, which there's all these credits and processes for that. So medical apparently also has where you put time in, which sounds like it makes sense. But once these physicians who have these MD paperwork, which proclaims them to be legit, once they're outside of the learning environment, or if they're in charge of people who are learning, they don't always keep up with the times. If there's a new discovery, I'm just so shocked that a lot of physicians are not aware of it. Like, there could be things that was just on the news, like just on the news that day, that morning, or that week. Don't know anything about it. I just thought that was kind of weird. Another thing is, like, doctors tend to, or physicians tend to, focus their own personal preferences in one direction or another, or they don't like this because, or they like that because. So it is personal, and it isn't necessarily factual. What? So I noticed certain inconsistencies. I noticed certain attitudes. Not all doctors actually have something called a bedside manner anymore, or, which I've noticed, which I have actually, I don't like it, I dislike it, is certain physicians will give the semblance of care, like they care about an issue, when it's a type of acting, like a character, and it's just to pacify you. I feel like at first this sort of thing works great, but when you're consistently seeing a certain physician over time, you start to tell that it's fake. I don't want to be harsh, but like bunk kind of thing. So then there's the whole electoral thing. I don't even want to touch that. I don't even know what to think anymore. This whole country is practically going to be in a civil war in a way, because uh, the whole point of having an electoral college is kind of like pointless. Depending, well, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I just don't have faith in a lot of things lately. Maybe it's a good thing, I guess, because I hated it. How, because this whole idea or concept of faith and how you quote unquote lose your faith or you stop believing in certain things. Faith has several definitions, multiple definitions. It mostly originally means to believe in something without any evidence. There's a good connotation to it and a bad connotation to it. So if you watch Star Trek Enterprise, the show, there's a song. The beginning song is called "I've Got Faith," faith of the heart. That song is about like your faith in your ability to go, go into outer space, and you're gonna explore, and you're gonna go beyond, and you're gonna go out there, because you're explorers, right? And a lot of the astronauts needed to have faith in their ability to do the right thing, even though it's never been done. Okay, totally okay with this definition of faith, but then faith can also mean like loyalty. Like faithful means loyalty, means obedience. It also can mean like somebody who's a suck up, kiss up. Or yeah, basically it's this loyalty. That and not that definitely has negative connotations. I feel like people who are the faithful, they view that as a good thing. I view that as a very bad thing. People also use this to describe their spouse. Is my spouse faithful? So there's that. And so there's that. Drink time. Coffee. I find that I'm often divided and I have different opinions and different conflicting ideas about everything. And I used to think that was a very, very bad thing. Like, I was like, oh, I'm a scatterbrain. But I don't think that's really a bad thing anymore. Because you need to be able to think about or consider things from different perspectives anyway. So I don't have to try and do that. I just automatically do that. There's like a ton of other things I could probably talk about, but I don't think I will. I want to go to the gym. I hurt my back again. It's not fun. Merry Christmas and stuff. Yeah. Happy holidays.